When Seymour Glass takes an Orkey's caliber 7.65 automatic to his right temple, he is taking a stance against bananafish. Bananafish are a metaphor in J.D. Salinger's novella, criticizing the people who lose themselves to the various temptations of society. Materialism, vanity, capital, pick your poison. In youth, each soul is unadulterated, like freshly fallen snow, pure, full of joy and love. The inner child in each of us dreams fearlessly and desires nothing but human connection. We start off as a tabula rasa, but life makes us the accumulation of our experiences. We are bound to make mistakes, and for some of us, we may become unrecognizable as we forget our initial intentions. Somewhere along the way, we lose our inner child, so in Chinese we caution, 不忘初心. Never forget what your heart yearned for originally. Seymour feels largely marginalized in a time whereby the majority of citizens is characterized by unapologetic pursuit of capitalism. He suffers because the world around him loves things, uses people, and is infected with narcissism. His marriage to his wife is loveless, and her actions are the epitome of what he opposes. Instead of caring about his situation, Mrs. Seymour Glass spends her time washing her combs, brushes, suits, and buttons. She pays more attention to the hairs on her mold than her husband's mental state because she is consumed by vanity and materialism. Though he identifies the decay around him, he wavers in his stance. He feels like he is drowning in a sea of conformity, as his hotel alone has 97 New York advertising men who have compromised their individuality, but he is unsure of how to hold on to his own. As Nietzsche distills, Seymour is questioning whether to join the herd because it is difficult to resist conforming. Many who read Perfect Day for Bananafish believe that Seymour Glass commits this final act because he is taking a stance against the postmodernist era. This is far from the whole story. I posit that Seymour takes his life because he is also afraid of swimming into a hole, gorging himself on bananas, and becoming what he despises the most. He is afraid of losing himself. Here we see the contradicting nature of Seymour that drives him to his demise. Though Seymour considers himself to be standing from a moral high ground compared to the rest of his contemporaries, there is a duality within him that craves their affirmation. As Marcus Aurelius criticizes in his Meditations, how much trouble people take to win the praise of those themselves they do not respect. We should remember to live for reason instead of applause. Spiritually, he is hungry because he reads German poetry and tries to hold on to tangible manifestations of love and truth. This effort is moot when contaminated by his ego. Not only does Seymour want to be preeminent, he wants others to view him as such. Virtue should take precedence to public opinion. This is manifest as he lectures Sybil on the nature of bananafish. He narrates to her that they lead a very tragic life by behaving like pigs and gorging themselves on bananas until they get banana fever and die. In essence, Seymour tries to caution her against greed. When Seymour plays the piano in the lobby in his bathrobe, he is in fact calling out, hoping someone will notice and vindicate him. He seems to be upset that these people have lost themselves, when in reality he is also afraid of his own failed spiritual journey. The internal battle with his shadow causes him to pull the trigger. Many of us have experienced losing ourselves to temptations that lead us off the path. We fall into traps of materialism, the low-hanging fruit, procrastination, what have you. I remember when I first made it. I had a period whereby I wouldn't wear anything but Chanel. I stunk of newly minted money, and for a while I lost the ability to see clearly. But I realigned and wiped my lens until I found myself once more. The incidence of losing oneself is disheartening, but lest we forget, life is long. Through the process of losing ourselves, we may actually find who we are, or even who we wish to become, as the definition of self is ever evolving. To live is to be open to the idea of constant growth and constant renewal. Who we wanted to be at one point may not serve our future selves. But this should not be taken as a sign of failure. It's an experience. There are a myriad of computations and permutations of our metamorphosis. Seymour Glass's folly is that he was operating on a static reality. He recognizes the flaw of materialism, but his ego urges him to convince others to align with his perspective. He foolishly craves the assurance of people he deigns to respect. To maintain alignment with self, one must accept that there are as many versions of truth as there are variations of people. We must learn to let others be. Life requires us to be tolerant and let each timeline unfold at its own pace. Just because Seymour's peers do not recognize that their ways are morally bankrupt now does not mean they won't forever. Seymour wished to accelerate their conclusion for his own ego. In his current situation, he grieves because he is not truly detached. Wishing for recognition is a futile endeavor. The moment that one stops seeking societal approval is the moment one no longer has to fear losing oneself. To an extent, much of his behavior prior to the last act was performative. He was calling attention to himself so that others would begin to question their actions and perhaps join him in rejecting their decay. To be viewed as morally superior is losing the understanding of self. He is trying to become the majority. Temporarily going off the track happens, and when it does, we can take the lesson instead of punishing ourselves. No one ever really loses themselves forever. They just keep evolving. Seymour gave up too soon. He fossilized his status quo when he could have explored alternatives. Today, we live in a world rich with choice. You lose yourself when you stop trying. There is always tomorrow. Don't let your past color your future.